Greetings all. I'm Isaac Buchanan, and you're tuned into Context Matters. If you tune into Reggae Global Radio, welcome all, and thanks for listening. If you're tuned into TikTok, big up yourself, top up the screen, share the live, big up yourself, Kern. I see you. If you're tuned into the YouTube, blessings and welcome. Catherine Daly, Lisa Six, Gwendolyn Hall, Sonia Jackson, Donna Thompson. Thanks for joining. And big up, special big up to the Coda Network. Lexi Chow Ne Hun Lang Ho. Yeah, if you're wondering why I'm in a suit, well, let me tell you something. There are times when you have to be serious. You have to be so serious. Them say see can rust brethren. But anyway, I'm gonna say this. You need to so I'm coming from court. That's the first thing. And when I go court, I'm all over Jamaica protecting the constitutional rights of the citizens in this country. So, every now and then, like Superman would he would actually take off a suit and then fly. I put on a suit, and that's my superpower, the law, constitutional law. But anyway, yeah, that's my excuse for not having on the Adidas gear because, that's my thing. But we have to talk. We got to talk. I'm gonna tell you what we got to talk about. We really gonna have to talk about the Constitution and the election. We're gonna talk about what I call delay bluff versus calling it is a must. You have to call it. You have to call it. Because here's the thing: if the prime minister does not call the election before the 15th of September, straight up, you're powerless. You're like, we don't know, say it's like the weak jellyback behavior because you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose no matter what happened. The prime minister of this country and the government, the current government that is formed by led by the Jamaica Labour Party, is gonna lose when the election is called. So what they do, they trying to milk, like when you have condensed milk and the tin, the milk each up in at the bottom of the tin, you have to pour hot water in there. They can't say that again, because they don't know what suffocation feel like. But they're going all out to experience the last bit of power before they go into the wilderness for 40 years. They got to ask Moses about that. This is so important why we're having this conversation, because the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahoo Fort, yes, clearly she's trying to come forth in her constituency on election day. But anyway, that's none of my business. Her and her constituents and her delegates who want her or don't want her is not my business. What I will say though is a statement was made. I'm not going to play the tape because I minimize the type of platform I give nonsense to. So here are the facts versus the fallacies. The issue about calling the election from time memorial and tradition in Jamaica, because we do not have fixed date elections, a promise that was made by the current prime minister to have fixed date elections. But obviously, when you're hungry for power and power nice, you're not going to try to oust yourself out of that power, because you would like to be able to have 28 bank accounts and turn them into 52 bank accounts as time goes by, because that's really how it is when you get power and you get to use money that's not yours. And you never had a job before you go into politics, and you don't have a profession. You didn't form part of the traditional professions like some of us who were blessed to become attorneys and doctors and lawyers and accountants and anyway. Let me leave that alone. I'm just throwing the con, never calling a foul. So when that happens, you make promises like the first 100 days, all that you're gonna do. You waste 9 total years, and your legacy is roads that you claim were carpets that you then 9 years later had to claim. Talk about say for me, Chad. You ain't the prime minister. Get out of here. Anyway, and then you had to call a state of public emergency, in really a national emergency, for the very roads that you used to brag that were carpets. So your legacy is zero. And then, unlike the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, who post COVID was able to build 2,800 houses, your house building is embarrassing. And here's why it is embarrassing. The JLP since 1962 has only built 11 houses in the parish of Portland. The constituency in particular, Portland Eastern, 11 houses is the legacy of this government from time memorial, 1962 till now. Anybody, you can fact check that, but me know say you can't do that and beat me when it comes to facts. PNP, on the other hand, is the only government in Portland Eastern that has given land endlessly and houses and housing schemes. And if it were not for the people of Nonsuch and Norwich, they can tell you about the blessings of the PNP, as well as the false narratives about roads in that area, and the lies people tell about the contributions that they would have made to roads, which is not so. But let's leave that alone. The point I'm making is this: the significant thing that the Jamaican people need to understand. This is the learning of the day from as not to skew the narrative when it comes to the calling of the election, is that the prime minister, through tradition, has always had the power to call elections at the stroke of his pen. That's the power, that's a constitutional power that a prime minister get. Can you imagine you just get up and feel like, something, the breeze are blow good today, call it, and you just call it, because especially when you're doing good work, you can call it at any time. Now, from the history, the prime ministers and governments all across the Caribbean too, not just Jamaica, they don't call election unless them feel them gonna win. So if them do something major, like imagine build 2,800 houses, they just call at same time and say, oh, we are give people food, clothes, and shelter, and just call it, and you'd just win again. You understand? Economy, not in a recession, everything going good in the country. The country is moving in the right direction. When it's moving in the right direction, it's moving forward and upwards, not backward and down there. You understand? So the crab in a barrel government that is being led by the Andrew Holness administration is what we call the inability to call the election. Because one thing I am certain about is that right across Jamaica, 63 constituencies, the People's National Party, we're ready. We're ready for the road. Yeah, a carnival season. So if you call it right now, waistline pop out. PNP and mash up everything. Ready, all of them. And the reality of it is, the longer you take to call the election, is the less seats you're going to be able to salvage. You don't believe me? Just go take a peek over Barbados and look what was the results of the Mia Mottley election when the government failed to call the election and become emasculated. So what is happening right now to the Jamaica Labour Party is an emasculation, a castration of unbelievable realities that they are facing. Here's what I mean by that. Well, when the opposition says call it, and you fail, you can't call it. You know you can't call it because you're gonna lose. Because yes, the People's National Party can't lose. We can't lose. Believe me when I tell you that. We just can't lose. And this is important to note because as time goes by, we are 5 months from September 3rd. September 3rd would be the date of the last general election in 2020. Let me go slow with this now. So when September 3rd, 2025 approaches, 5 years is what would have passed from the last election, which means the only thing left from that is approximately 12 days for the dissolution of Parliament. Parliament being dissolved, Parliament being no more. The government, the Prime Minister's inability to call election. After the Parliament dissolves, the Prime Minister has no power to call election because his government is functus. Functus. There is something called purdah. If anybody wonders why it rhymes with murder, here's what it means. Purdah refers to the period of time running from the date of the announcement of a general election up to the date upon which that election is held. Although it is a period of time and it may vary in practice, in the context, notice, of a general election, it is required to be at least 17 working days from the date on which Parliament is dissolved by the Queen and polling day itself. Notice the days. Practically, there will also usually be a period of time between the election being announced and the date on which Parliament is dissolved. And this intermittent period of time is known as parliamentary wash up. Clean up that. Water, rain come down. Speaking of water, when I water in Portland, I'm saying $150 million to Minister of Water, Samuda, the British man. I wonder. Anyway, him say must send water over here and them trucking water. Free water. What they do is the water. Anyway, let me leave the water people alone. But I bet you, any day we see one of them water truck there with the MP face on it, I sell water. I got ball out, thief. Yeah. But anyway, what you need to know about this is that period between the election being announced and the date in which Parliament is dissolved and the intermittent period of time is known as parliamentary wash-up. This is the period that we're talking about, And this is the time which the government uses to seek consensus on bills and other matters still in the process of going through the House. Purdah is also known as the pre-election period, and central and local government avoid addressing politically sensitive issues during this time. All right. Why am I telling you about this purdah? Well, we're simply saying if September 3rd come and the Prime Minister don't call it, remember it's only 12 days, 2 weeks, 2 literal weeks, not 12 working days, but 2 literal weeks that is left for Parliament to be washed up and no more. Good? It means anything after that is not the Prime Minister calling it, it's the Constitution that is calling it. Now, what it would mean is that when Parliament is dissolved, there is going to be limited function. What do I mean by that? Well, you must tell me if I'm going too fast, because I really I never dress up and look spiffy to so people can just not understand me. Context matters. I'm looking, yes, we're looking, yes. Tap up the screen over there, share the live. Yes, send me gifts to see my reaction. Joy Love says, I am going too fast. All right, we'll repeat it after. But after Parliament is dissolved in Jamaica and an election is not immediately called, watch me now, because we heard Malahoo, the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, a former Attorney General who has a track record of losing every constitutional case that was under her belt. While she was the Attorney General, she never win yet. the country enters a period where certain government activities are restricted. Good? So according to the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Malahu Forge, she says if elections are not called sooner, Parliament automatically dissolves on the 5th anniversary after its first sitting, and the Constitution provides for the holding of elections within 3 months of Parliament being dissolved. No, just hear me. Parliament's first sitting was the 15th of September in the year 2020. Good? I want people to know this. That's when it was dissolved. So the election, September 3rd, and 2 weeks later, first sitting of Parliament, because obviously the swearing in and the this and the that. So what we're saying is when the 15th of September comes, government is no more. All that happens then is the limited power that is given to the sitting government. So the government retains its responsibility to govern, and ministers remain in charge of their departments. However, there's a political convention that restricts the government during this time. It restricts what the government can do during this time. So while they have the nice fancy press release, so they're educating the public, just know when Parliament dissolved, the government, they're just administrators, some little secretary. You know, the people that some little cashier people. And you know, sometimes I've seen cases in court where the cashiers, them hands quick, and when the camera on them end up in court, and then the big shot lawyers. What's like one of them big lawyer there? One of them big lawyer there. What's his name? When you're shipping champagne and all of these things, they represent like the supermarkets when the cashiers rob the money. So government ministers become political cashiers. They don't have no real power, right? The convention often referred to as purdah. I just told you what purdah is. I defined purdah for you. And it prevents the government from making significant decisions or announcements that could be seen as influencing the election or binding the hands of the next administration. So when Parliament dissolves, no, you can't go do no big road project and sign no big deal and start no big nothing, because you're not the government. You're just a certified cashier. Yeah? A certified cashier. That's what you are. No, Purdah. It's purdah. Ja Rule would say that. So in terms of the parliamentary business, all bills, motions, and committee reports cease in both the Senate and the House of Commons. However, which is the House of Parliament. However, a bill that isn't passed can still be reintroduced in the next Parliament, either by the same government or a new one. Right? So it's worth noting that while the government's ability to make decisions is limited during this period, essential services and administrative matters continue to be managed by the relevant authorities. So the agencies, and you can look for yourself, there was a letter sent out today by the Integrity Commission, either today or tomorrow, this week, whatever, speaking about, handing over the necessary information from certain government agencies in relation to lands that they own and the transactions respectively, and I guess the accounting thereof, because there's a lot of money moving around. Somebody said purgatory. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a word. But anyway, so this, my people, is significant. So people, what was next said, or what was later said, was a question as to whether or not the election was constitutionally due September 3rd. Is the Minister of Constitutional Affairs right when she said that it was a mistake to say that the election was constitutionally due September 3rd? Well, I read the constitution that she read. Mind you, she gave different she read different sections that was not relevant to answering that question. But section 64 seems to suggest that the life of parliament is 5 years. So when the 5 years up, parliament automatically dissolves. So is the election constitutionally due September 3rd? The constitution says no, it isn't, because the constitution is only concerned with when the government is no more. So the constitution is basically saying, hey, you, Mr. Prime Minister, you have whole heap of power, and you're free for call the election all the next day after you win the first one if you think you're bad. Or the following 6 months, or the following month, or every month for every year before 5 years. You can do that. But just know that if you move like you're shaky, and move like you're fraidy, like he's a weak jellyback man and you're afraid for call the election because you and your government never do what you were supposed to do. This is the constitution speaking, not me. I'm just paraphrasing. Then the done of all dons, the constitution itself, I go just radam you and make you know, say, oh, we dissolve parliament and it's spurred upon you. Limited restriction, and you're the de facto government because the government of Jamaica no longer exists. And you're no longer the ruling party. And the parliament that is there is really just political cashiers. But we know you like cash. We know that. That's why your statutory declarations aren't certified. You were certified political cashier. That's all you want to be. That's why you're not calling the election. You feel me? Yeah. So that getting that out of the way, was the minister correct? The minister was correct, because the very medias that people like Flavel as a finance minister connected to Nationwide thereof and stuff like that, of course they're going to get Nationwide and all of these stations to say that the election is constitutionally due September 3rd, because nobody respects the constitution and reads the constitution. However, section 64 quite clear. Parliament is going to just wash up, dash out on the 5th anniversary. September 15th is the magical date for when Parliament is no more. Section 65 then says, when does the next general election call? Obviously, if the Prime Minister was too weak to call it, too afraid to call it, so I said them big words just a fly, don't head Andrew. Just a fly over, don't said Andrew. No, he has the Minister of Constitutional Affairs to tell him how it go. Whether or not all she need to tell him is, listen, you have up until, I'm going to say it, you have up until about August 3rd to exercise your power to call the election. So look like you call the election when the water run out. No, somebody say if I'm 1 month in a parliament, grade me up. So 1, I'm not in parliament. 2, I'm 46 years of age. Why are you trying to discriminate against me rocking my gray hairs? The gray hairs on my face look sexy. Yeah? I used to be a no grade you. But for real, I'm a sexy gray hair man. All right? Girls all over the world want to up me. Yeah. Anyway, so I want people to appreciate that if the Constitution has to pretty much, the constitutional mechanisms has to call the election, it simply means that your failing government knew that because there was a recession, knew that because they failed to do what they were supposed to do, trying to waste taxpayers' money by the road patching project and the reach patching project and everything that they're trying to do to pretty much have a sense or make it seem like they're doing something is the real thing that people are to watch. Because for instance, People shouldn't be begging. People shouldn't be begging the government to give them road. Shouldn't be begging you to give them a little water. Shouldn't be begging them in 2025 to continue to give light. You heard the shadow minister for energy speaking out that, listen, although the public has no knowledge of what the renegotiation between JPS and the government is about, and whether and what it will look like in terms of saving energy. And they don't build enough houses to have conversations about smart homes and building houses that really would reduce electric consumption by the technology that is available. But not going to say too much on that, because when the People's National Party becomes the next government, and like Mark Golden says, dear young people, we are giving you a grant of $500,000, which is usually the deposit for the house from NHT. It's different from the grant that NHT gives, but you still have to go find the deposit. Anybody knows what it is to walk into a car lot and all you have to do is sign your name and then drive out without spending a dollar because your credit is so good? That's the grant is just like that. Or those of you who go to the university and you just sign your own name. Me own a name. And me get my student loan so me can get a career in life. Just to be able to do that is the significance of the grant. So I want people to understand that you have so much to look forward to under the next People's National Party, the next government of Jamaica, under the leadership of Mark Jefferson Golden. And you need to know that your lives are about to change. Your lives are about to change because no longer will your tax-paying dollars be stolen, escaping nearby bushes, be missing. No longer will the constituency fund be misused, mismanaged, or not used at all. Some constituencies, the flow of money in the sum of $1 billion flow through their hands and no development comes through, whether it be government funding, U.S. assistance from other countries that are more developed than us. Just have an appreciation that accountability, transparency, and integrity will not always pass through the individuals that are selected for representation. Integrity is an internal mechanism, a self-check mechanism, almost like internal locus of control. And yes, in some areas like Portland, when as soon as the MP changes, the water gonna turn on. And no, it's not gonna be a fake water pipe that's attached to a water tank. And then when the people them leave, no water in your pipe when not. This is not PR business. We're talking about the real thing. So if you're wondering why it is that the election is not called, let me just give you an example. The Secretary of State from the United States came to Jamaica to have private discussions and discussions with CARICOM leaders about many things. Much weight was given to the Cuban doctor, the treatment of them, and whether it is slave labor. If you know the history or you even use Google, you'll know that Mark Rubio is passionate about his heritage, his origin, and how the people of Cuba are treated by the Cuban government. And so way before he became the Secretary of State, as a senator, he would speak out about all of that, right? So he speaks about that generally. Of course, your prime minister said nothing. Then he says, oh, we're showing nothing will happen to the Cubans, but at the same time, the Minister of Health, Christopher Tufton, comes out and say, oh, you know, the ones whose contract ended, they went back, but we never send them home. And they don't talk about the Walsh and Lonsdale principle, where when these contracts are up, specific performance still allows these the workers to remain, and somebody said contract over. No, even you have a lot of government workers who are working and the contract did done long time, but it's still, you still get to continue by virtue of the Walsh and Lundale principle. But we'll talk about that another time. The point I'm making is this: the media had portrayed as if the Jamaica and the United States under the Republicans has the best relationship now. And then Trump was like, and then they, oh, no tariffs. And then he says, oh, you know, we're going to reduce the cost of importing food from foreign, and all the things that will cripple the farming community in Jamaica. Yes? And the false promises made by the Minister of Agriculture and all the things. Even in where I am, they will them tell you about bus, and then them say the bus soon fix, Wi-Fi goodly in there so you can do your homework in the bus. Because the people who are advocating to do homework in the bus don't appreciate that homework is to be done at home. But let's leave that alone, because I'm not here to be cheeky. I'm just saying that when it comes to PR, people will say a lot of things and make a lot of empty promises. And because they want to look if any of the empty promises can trick the people, they can't call the election, because then the data that they're used to is not driving. It's not hitting home. When you have somebody like Damian Crawford as a senator taking you to school to tell you, say, listen, the math ain't mathing. Everything that you promised, it just now work the way you say it. Yeah? When people look, when radio stations and their hosts get up and say, oh, murder prime minister and this, but the sitting prime minister has the worst record when it comes to murders. And he's the one that used state of emergencies and government resources more than any prime minister in the history of Jamaica. And they make heavy weight about the shadow minister of national security, who says, listen, at this point, we need to pray. And made fun of praying, just like they made fun of the leader of opposition when they got up and said, and leader of opposition and Julian Robinson, finance, shadow finance, says that we are going to give what you'd call water concession to senior citizens. So fixed water rate, if that's what you want to call it. And they said, no, that can't work. How you going to do that? Why you give old people a benefit? How dare you give old people a benefit? And they lick out against old people. Licking out is them thing, clearly. But what I will say is this, and people must understand and appreciate that of all the things that is happening, including the continuous constitutional breaches, nothing was more clear than a signal to the Jamaican people that when the Prime Minister, as well as the Minister of Local Government, said, over for them dead body, them now give up the reins of power to the People's National Party. Hearing the Minister of Constitutional Affairs attempting to interpret the Constitution to say that nobody knows when the election can be called because Parliament is the dissolution of Parliament is not fixed, but it really is. It's September 15th. And yes, we know that 90 days from then, which would be about December, sometime in December 15th would be when the election would compulsion of the call. They also introduced, not they, but she introduced, Malahoo Fort, Minister of Constitutional Affairs, read for the media and the public at large possibility of war, possibility of disruption that would cause Parliament to continue, the government to continue to function up to 12 months. There was an attempt to extend the life of Parliament during COVID, and things were trying to be put in place to ensure that however they could disenfranchise the people by their ability to vote is what they would do. So interpretation is a very, very, very important thing. So section 65 says 90 days. 3 months is the longest from the dissolution of parliament that the election would be due. But just note that when parliament is dissolved, it is not exactly. So megawatt, the reason Malawi gave this press conference is to put into the people's mind and put fear and mayhem, especially when the citizens of Jamaica are very anxious to vote them out. And more than ever, vote out her, because her delegates didn't want her, and it's because of her the position she holds in her party. Why she can say she can be like Effie, and I'm telling you, I ain't going nowhere. I'm the Minister of Constitutional Affairs. Yeah, so you get it. And what is in? Yes, you see, the local government election is not constitutionally cemented process as the general election. But people just need to know that the signal, there's no other way to interpret the press conference than an attempt to publicly interpret the Constitution to see how they can flip it and reverse it and do anything to hold on to the reins of power, because the polls have showed that even after they have given all the money from the future earnings of Norman Manley International Airport, they've given that away. It hasn't even moved the needle by 1% for them. Let me tell you something. Remember, right after Rubio left here, and everybody was saying, oh, the prime minister, he might have a good relationship with Trump administration. Donald Trump himself say, yo, 10% tariff on Jamaica. We are lick them with a tariff. While the prime minister is saying they're not them trying to reduce importation, and America benefits more than even Jamaica when it comes to the deal between import export. Don't ever forget that. But notice this: it is the minister, the foreign minister, who comes out and tries to make proper an explanation about the tariff. But where is Flavor? And he's not debating, and I know that you don't this teamwork make the dream work thing. It's either you can do the work or you can't do the work. We know you can't do the education work. You were disastrous as the education minister. In fact, when you were done, the picnic them couldn't even pass maths and English to how you were a horrible education minister. People were being abused for their hairstyles under your guidance. And then they want to give you one of the most important ministries. I mean, know you got school feet, but sometimes theory versus the practical is different. Because any finance minister gonna tell me the history of Pro Box owners. Trust me, I'd change the Pro Box to Wanta. But anyway, so Flavor should yes, Flavor should answer to the people on how these tariffs will affect us. In particular, how will it affect the $2,000 that we're supposed to be saving? And for those who can't save, how will it affect the $1,000 that is minimum wage? Tell us now. Tell us. Come back to the podium and drink a little rum and boom before you come at the podium. You're boring, bad. Boring. Yes. North Star, who said the contextualizers aren't bright? Yes, not Pro Box, Wanta. Anyway, so I'll just put to the people and leave it. The Prime Minister's performance with Rubio was so great that Jamaica got slapped with a 10% tariff. And the Finance Minister is silent on this. It's Purda. And then comes the Minister of Constitutional Affairs that's saying, well, Purda will guide us into the future of Jamaica because we not call no election because the Prime Minister not have the guts, him not have the cojones to do that. You hear me? Soft. Can't stand up to Mark Jefferson Gordon. Can't even sing a Christmas song. Yeah? Can't even. You can't. Don't size up. And you knew it. You knew you was going into an election with your statutory declarations uncertified. So you get Delaware University for tell we say you're a doctor. Yep. You might wondering how we got here. It started with SSL and Bolt losing his money and the use of charity to do your own business. But this isn't a Tyler Perry movie. So the rest ain't not come out yet. Yep. Anyway, we are at 4:43. I just want to pause to say something real quick. Let me see if I can tag this one. That Walking in Divine had said. I was trying to do it. We're gone. Yes, you too. I don't want to hide. I want to do something to it. It's a shake. Oh yeah, see there, it's there. Yeah, the Magnitsky petition. Will Rattigan is asking from reasoning with Rattigan and the other online platforms like Mystic Sensation, Jeffrey Tavares. They have asked me to remind you about the petition, the Magnitsky petition. I mean, we're talking about the Prime Minister of Jamaica and his ministers and the illicit 8, which he's number 1 and 7 remaining, and the election is due soon. So the Magnitsky petition is what is being asked, that you go on to change.org. The link is right there. If you can see how best you can take it and look for it. Magnitsky petition at change.org. He is asking in particular not to donate at the petition website, but to only donate at the One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund.net. So for more information, tune in to Will Rattigan on a Wednesday night and Will Rattigan on a Saturday. And you can tune in on a Sunday when him and Kevin Stew is on Reggae Global Radio spinning tunes. You know what I mean? But anyway, so this is important. I can tell you a little bit about the Magnitsky. It is where the government, you can lock up the Prime Minister and the ministers for thieving and especially like how you see all of these extrajudicial killings. If it's proven that a lot of these killings were done and are actually murder, those persons responsible can go to prison as well. We have to come to a place where even when no one is watching, even without the body cams, even without inquiries and all of that, people, if they are investing in SSL, they must lose their money. People, when they're interfacing with members of the JCF, the camera don't need to be off because the members of the force are respectful. Most of them are. I'm going to shout out especially to the female officers. Something about their integrity that is far superior than even their male counterparts. But no, not an indictment on majority, because majority of the members of the JCF are above board. An interesting thing happened today in court. I witnessed a young man who is a taxi driver who is dating a female police officer represent himself and cross-examine 2 police officers. And when I tell you, say, when him done cross-examine them, if I were them, I'd have find a new career. But the young man definitely should become an attorney. It is very rare that you see the citizens appreciate and understand the law. Tomorrow is the funeral, I'm told, of the greatest cross-examiner, female cross-examiner attorneys in Jamaica, the Honorable, calling her Honorable Valerie Nita Robertson, King's Counsel. She's known for her very, very crafty, witty cross-examination skills. And she can do it on a whim and rip a court case apart, the prosecution's case apart, the witnesses, just by virtue of her cross-examination. Well, young man, I don't know if you're watching. I'm not going to call your name, but I'm going to tell you that I am praying for you and hoping that you do pursue a career in law, or albeit you're a taxi driver, after your display, should you decide that you want to study law. I certainly am constrained to say that I would be compelled to assist you to achieving that goal. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of the fact that you are a young black man who knew that your rights was being violated, and that notwithstanding that it was just a mere traffic ticket, that you knew to Google, you knew to do your research, and your girlfriend is a police officer, so I'm sure she assisted you, but your ability to retain the information and your ability to apply yourself in the court with the confidence that is only reminiscent of me. I mean, I was so impressed that yeah, you must get your flowers in this life, and should you decide to study law, reach out. Anyway, that being said, the Magnitsky Act, or the Magnitsky Doctrine, is one that regulates government and has the power for the international community to intervene in states where the government is just simply rogue. The government is so corrupt that there has to be intervention to protect the people from the heights of corruption. And there's no PR in this world that can take away the fact that this government is riddled by corruption. And although I've seen the results of many polls that saying corruption isn't a priority for the Jamaican people, but crime is, just remember that corruption is just the pretty name for the scamming and the fraudulent miscellaneous transaction act should have had applied to the corruption that has been taking place from government officials. So just like how the Purda, your Mala who Fort says that the parliament can be resolved and Purda comes into effect, where her and her fellow ministers will become political cashiers. Just know that the definition of corruption on the Context Matters platform is political scammers. All right? No, we don't even have thief. We don't even have a theft act in Jamaica. We have a larceny act. So believe me, don't even disrespect the thief them, because two thieves did this side of Jesus and God said forgive them. We cannot forgive corruption. It is an unforgivable sin. That's all I'm going to say. Because it prevents somebody's child from becoming the best versions of themselves, because this limited resources that we have as government is being taken away by the elite class, and there's very little that majority of people can do about it but to sit by and experience disenfranchisement, including the taking away of the coast, the beaches that prevent where you can go and settle your brain, smell the ocean, eat fish and do festival, so you don't have to do nobody nothing. They're taking the land away from the people all across Jamaica. There's nothing more calming than the beauty that is the water that surrounds the beautiful island of Jamaica. The only thing that goes in sync with the people to which we arrive our power is the sun and the water. So I'm just saying that I want people to appreciate that. Similarly, there has been an uptick in abuse of process with a view to seriously I would say seriously affect freedom of expression. Continue to be fearless, continue to express yourself. If you can do so without being disrespectful like the dirty people on X, Jamaican X that is, then continue to exercise your freedom of expression. In any event, if you can't, still express yourself. Speak your mind, because your words have consequences. We do know that. But at the same time, it's better you scream and shout than hurt somebody physically. Not that mental hurt isn't bad, but I'm just saying sometimes it's better, because what cannot be undone is physical harm. All right, so I want people to also continue to think about the effect of being disenfranchised, a breakaway from tradition where every prime minister before Andrew Holness has called the election, has exercised his power, even except for in Barbados, where they lost every single seat when the Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, was the leader of opposition. Every single Prime Minister across the Caribbean would have called the election. And the ability for the Prime Minister to call the election shows bravery, shows that he has a true command of the direction of the country, and also that he is not afraid of what the voters will do because he has done the work. This administration, by the budget that they read and the budget debate in its entirety, proves that the campaign that is coming is not on the work that they would have done. Because they fail to execute anything in terms of moving this country in a direction that the little man, I'm saying the little man, like me and other Jamaicans who want better for ourselves, no matter how hard we work, because he has failed to include us, because he has failed to actually bring the least among us to a place where they are surviving and have food security. If you know what it feels like to want some KFC and have to go buy some fry, put up your hand. If you know what it feels like to do a pocket check and you just don't have no money, put up your hand. I'm going to tell you this. I was walking in Portland. Then I got in the vehicle. Then I started to drive, because that's how you canvass and that's how you go through the constituency. So when I reached the part where I started to drive again, I saw an old man, and he was at a bar and some other people were there. And I say hi to them, and the old man, he cussed me proper. But I can't repeat what he has said to me, but it was very, very, very rude. You hear me? Rude. But it was, in my mind, not one word that came out of his mouth was offensive to me, because the frustration that he felt about the disappointment from the current sitting MP and persons before, who would have neglected him and have made promises and never kept. And being over 70, not having a pension, being ill and not able to continue to work to ensure that he can make money, made him frustrated, and he had a cane. So I'd say, tell me what's wrong. And he says, no, chat to me. But of course, it's not what people say, it's how they say it. And sometimes the spirit speaks louder than the words that come out of people's mouth. And my spirit said, talk to the man. Anyway, it was a day when I was going around giving my assistance to the elderly. And he was an elder, so I told him that I was set out to do that. And I said, I have something for you. He said, what that? But the way he said the what that, let me tell you, man, like a try, yes, man, invent and cost me good and proper. And I didn't meet him back with any hostility. Anyway, I'm a friend now because he was able to let me know that many empty promises made, even to provide the little assistance that I was able to give to him, was the height of his frustration. But he went on to complain about the water, complain that even though roads are being fixed, the parochial roads and the roads leading to where he lives was not being fixed. And if him drop and hurt himself tomorrow, there's no hospital here. And so he has a good understanding of all the deficiencies, certainly in Portland, East Portland. And in learning that, the anecdote before I take a break is to say that in your going out and your coming in, remember the old people. There's a saying that Jesus protect the children and the fools. I'm wondering if old people and people who are incapacitated, the interpretation of fool in that is the people who are incapable of helping themselves. And I'm not saying all old people are incapable, but there is old people forms part of the protected class that we should always think about as a nation. If you don't believe me, just look at the movie Happy Feet. You see the vitriol that they have spit out when serving persons who have served this country, the Honorable K.D. Knight and the Honorable Robert Pickersgill, grace the stage. No, Babsy isn't old; she lives forever. Don't call Babsy name. Babsy, she's timeless. She's ageless. And she have a lot of wigs. But anyway, but there's a lot of vitriol being spit against old people, even government people who would have given great service to this country. And the same people who are doing it didn't do it when they had brought the late Siaga onto platforms and he could barely walk. And in fact, he had looked like the crypt keeper. But people, out of respect for the former prime minister, nobody was rude, because also you may never know if it is the wish of the person to be present. Certainly in terms of KD Knight, what man is it that would not be proud to see his son or daughter enter into the political arena, especially as erudite as Stacey Knight is? I'm sure it would make him want to get up and stand up and celebrate his finest work, being his daughter. But anyway, I'm just putting that out there. And soon come. We're at the top of the hour. We're certainly at Reggae Global Radio. We must take that time signal. Yep.
It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say, life much better, you live it your own way. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say, life much better, you live it your own way.
You know, I so this weekend is I might be saying it wrong, but somebody in the comments can help me. The Grand Prix, whatever. The people that are gonna run up and down, the athletes, the top athletes, gonna be the adult thing. So after champs, you usually have the older people that's gonna run. Yeah. Have you ever noticed anytime you think about running, you think about Shelley and I think about Bolt? My condolences to the Bolt family with the loss of his father. Um, yeah, so this week is that. So what I've done is to I know that there's a lot of talent in Portland. You notice Titchfield is in the finals of the school challenge quiz. Aha. So I congratulate them from now because we always say, oh, they putty them Bella. Give me the power, I beg of you. See there, it done. It done. Them are go win. And so congratulated. But the talent is here from netball to soccer to track. Including there's a young man that did very well at champs. Very, very well. And you know that it is access and opportunity that is important for young people. And so, yeah, we're bringing the heat, and I'm speaking that energy into the lives of the young people of Portland. Yeah, man, Portland High did very well. Verona, if you know the young man's name, but I don't want to call him name, so you can type it on TikTok. I'm not saying it over here because these are mine and I don't have permission. But Portland, the talent is here. So naturally, what you do to reward them because you want them to be able to see. So tickets for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Call me, check me for them, or contact Andre Stevens on partner. Draw tweet say Portland. I hear Portland. Yeah. Call me for the tickets if you need tickets. Certainly for the children from selected high schools. The Grand Slam, yes. They will be able to go and see what the future of track and field look like in Jamaica and be energized to be a part of it. And to the young ladies and the young men who get the track shoes and did well and doing whatever. We are proud of you. We're clapping you, and hopefully you're not doing anything this weekend and you can make your way to the stadium. Transport is provided for the selected few already. But there are extra tickets, so you can link me for the Grand Slam. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Make use of it. Good? Blessings all. Yeah. Big picture said living to see old age is a blessing. Yeah, every time I come across somebody who is 99 or who is 100, the energy is just great. There's so many things you can ask them because they were around from 1925 and we're in 2025. It's 100 years, or even 2-3 years short of that, meaning you are 97. when 1925 was around, or whatever, is, as in you were born, you're just a little baby, or not born yet thereafter. But you get the point. Is someone said Grand Slam or Grand Prix? Listen, don't confuse me or stress me out, cause I can't run for save my life, Because if I could, I did dep on the track team and me da did get my medals. Cause trust me, any talent me have, me use it. Yeah. But it's Grand Slam. You think about Grand Prix, you think this I don't even know what I gotta say. You're just distracting me. Why would you do that? TikTokers, behave yourselves. Yeah, but so why we're talking about this is there's this panic on this nation, and there's a tension on the nation because the people are ready to vote. At least 42% of Jamaicans this time around says that they are ready and prepared to vote. 42%. Last time it was less, it was 30 something, under 40%. And there are 11% also that says they may vote. So if that 11% show up on the 42%, we're at 53% of voters. So the timing of the election is important. Why is it important? You have young people that have, I could tell you about this enumeration drive. I can tell you how young people are so energized and ready to vote for a change. They're so ready to vote for a change that as them drop 18, them go get them ID card because them say, "Ooh, Marky G, ISAT B, we're ready for the whole 63." Yeah, you feel me? Yeah. And to delay and call bluff and to make people anxious to punish you for your sins, to punish you for your corruption, to punish you and send a message for your inability to do what you are supposed to do. The abuse through the education ministry of students, of even teachers from non-payment, the abuse of the JCF from the lack of salary, the abuse of the medical doctors. They are all ready to vote. They are all ready to vote. There's nothing you can do wherever you could say you're going to get vote out. Vote out. Anyway, let me leave that alone. So somebody here saying, how can I get a tablet? Well, pharmacies, go to a pharmacy near you. If you're feeling indigestion, get you some Andrews. Yeah. Anyway, so that is pretty much the reality. So a lot of these conversations, especially, one would think that when the Minister of Constitutional Affairs called a press conference, she would come and say to the Jamaican people, we're very sorry for once again trying to disrespect the Constitution and ignore constitutional provisions, because clearly she reads it. Because she was reading the Constitution, even though she was reading like it's the first time she read it, right? And she was reading the relevant section 64, subsections, as well as section 65. But she reads the Constitution. So she ought to have said to her colleagues, the Portmore thing is going to embarrass us. And I sit in the chair of Minister of Constitutional Affairs, and it would appear that I'm not advising the Prime Minister where I need to. Because the people of Jamaica must understand that an injunction was filed by the People's National Party to protect the people of Jamaica from the serial constitutional breaches. And yes, the people who don't respect the Constitution is the Jamaica Labour Party. And they have no shame when it comes to that because they lack competence on that side when it comes to the Constitution. In fact, everything that they do, they say, we're going to do it and make them go to court, go test it, because they get the opportunity to use the government's money and pay their friends millions of dollars. Some of those lawyers get millions of dollars to go stand up in the court and chat foolishness for all the constitutional breaches that they lost. It is the taxpayers that have to pay the bill. It's not coming out of their pocket. In fact, it should be the relevant ministries and the ministers who foot the bill anytime there's a constitutional breach. So when Desmond McKenzie get up and say, yo, we have changed parish boundaries and we have turned Portmore in a parish, and under the advice was told, don't do it because you're breaching the Constitution, he should foot the bill, any bill at all, at the end of the day. Because I can tell you this. You saw how Warmington still was talking about attach the court order and also attach the parish boundaries and the constituency boundaries so the people them can see so we can get on with it. Still attempting to breach the Constitution. But we know these people aren't lawyers and we don't know what their educational background is from, apart from the Buddhism that they exude and demonstrate and display. But we have to be real when it comes to protecting the Constitution from the people who derive, from the creatures who derive their power from the very Constitution. It's almost like a child eating the parent, or a dog eating its master and ripping its master apart after the master allowed them to protect the house. Literally. I am giving you a lot of people don't do English language or they don't do literature. So when you give the necessary examples, where they get confused. But yeah, the whole idea that they also put out press release and they came and said, oh, this is a win for the Jamaica Labour Party. But just remember, they gave a professional undertaking, and for that reason, the PNP consented. Would I have consented? No, I never. Anything that Marla Huford is involved in, I would never consent. If she said do it, I know it wrong. Yeah. So, but we have senior attorneys, and I just saw it go. But had they not consented, it would have meant that the injunction likely would have had to be in place, because that undertaking almost seems like it means nothing now when you see how they're flouting as if it was a victory for them. They undertake to respect the Constitution, because they didn't before, but they undertake to the court that they will respect the Constitution and follow the guidelines and do all that is necessary to not breach the Constitution. The result of that is not Portmore can't even, the thought of Portmore being a parish cannot happen before the next election. In comes Malahoo saying, well, you know, if the country goes to war, the parliament can extend for 12 months. So, you know, we're looking into the war because Jamaica has never been in war. Never. And this is the same government that says they now have a handle on crime. So they can't say this is a state of emergency where the country is under attack. So, of course, I'm going to say at this point, time come. Time come to remove the constitutional breaches. Time come for people who lack the competence to interpret the Constitution to be removed from dealing with matters of the Constitution, especially in relation to human rights for the people. Time come to include the Jamaicans, the citizens of Jamaica, in the affairs of the country. Time come for the brave men and women in the People's National Party to protect the beach rights and its access for the Jamaican people. Time come to rescue Jamaicans from corruptionists and the scamming that is taking place, the looting and the hoarding of lands. Yes? Because some people behaving like the land is theirs and it isn't. Time come to have conversation with the young men and women of Jamaica on the value of life. Because the only reason why murder is the way it is because people don't feel like they're valued. And if you're not valuing their life, they have no duty to value yours. And so these conversation has to be had. And I just feel like we are to, in more spaces, use our platforms to educate each other, and more questions need to be asked by people about things that they don't understand. I was doing a class yesterday and a young lady says, "I'm not voting, sir, because I don't think that there is no change or no change can come." So I said, "Have you voted before?" And she said, "No." But from she's been growing up as a little girl to where she is now. So when a 20-year-old says that to me, says to me, all she's known in her entire life was a country run majority by the Jamaica Labour Party in her lifetime. Yes? Because we are at the 18-year mark since 2007. So that is very, very important. So why am I even saying this? Well, I'm gonna take the opportunity to share with you. When I was done, and I told her who Rosa Parks was. When I was done and I told her about the patriarchal scale, what patriarchy is, what hegemonic masculinity is, where does black people fall on the patriarchal spectrum? Where does white people fall, as in the white male as the patriarch of the country? Yes? And the world. And where do black people fall in all of that? And why am I speaking about that in the context of the world? So to have your own black people abuse you like the government of the day says they don't understand patriarchy. It says that they are using the book of Animal Farm to run a developing country. It also says that we don't understand who our national heroes were. So once we're talking about election, we have to talk about George William Gordon and Paul Bogle. We have to talk about the synergy between both of them. I think if you look, I don't have none with me, but if you look on one of the money them, the two of them dep on it. The two of those men were hanged. But the efforts of George William Gordon, a white man who decided that he would give away land so that black people could go on the voters list. And she says, "Sir, what you talking about?" But I know that civics is no longer in schools. So I know that people, although we have heroes there and all of that, that we don't understand. And we think the only thing people remember about the Morant Bay Rebellion is that Paul Bogle did walk from St. Thomas to Spanish Town. And it's so ironic because right the road so bad he couldn't walk come to Portland from Morant Bay. But anyway, I'll leave that one alone. But the significance is that there was a time where you had to have land to vote. And ask yourself, how many of you Jamaicans right now, because you don't have $500,000 Even if you were qualified for NHT, you don't even have the $500,000 to get your name on a title so you could get the right to vote. And imagine how this government is behaving when they make decisions without consultation on places where you now have land, but where you are constitutionally allowed to participate. This is important, you know. I don't want people to think that I am just running off my mouth. I'm telling people about the importance of voting and the value of it. Somebody said, Isaac, what are you talking about? Portland have carpet. Yeah, man, Portland have carpet. Portland have one bus for the whole 5 divisions from Hector's River come all the way down in the valley that the bus they would have drive. But at the Magic school bus. So I've seen that. I've seen what the Magic school bus can do. So I'm leaving that one alone. But why it is so important and significant that we understand that in 2025 we don't look at race, we look at respect, and we look at capacity, we look at ability, and we look at human rights. Because under human rights, equality and equity is a serious, powerful factor to consider. You're not to see color, you're not to see race, you're not to see class, you're not to see culture, you're not to see sex. That is male and female. So man not supposed to think them better than woman. Woman not supposed to think them better than man. A white man can't think him better than a black man, and a black man can't think him better than a black man either. Nor the other colors, Chinese, Indian, and other places from other countries. Good. And I raise this so people can understand that when you say me nah go vote, you are disenfranchising yourself. The other day, I see a man from Spanish Town win the Super Lotto, $245 million. You can't bad mind him because you never buy a ticket. And he probably was buying a ticket every week and then him win. Yeah, I see somebody say 1 night a week, water come to Anchovy, Eastern. It's sad, bad. But the people in Anchovy, you need to understand that the water system is there, and with proper systems, I am going to bring it all to you. In fact, 30 years ago, when I used to walk up and down in Nonsuch and Norwich Heights, I envisioned 30 years ago that I was going to give you road. So my Portland family, all right? Anyway, so what you need to understand more than anything is the importance of voting so that it is a constitutional right. And just like the right to life, which is no greater than the right to vote, one should never, ever, ever, ever take it lightly. And I'm saying this even at a time where those who are not registered to vote don't have a ticket. But there will be times after this where you will realize that you need it. But in an election where it's floating around that Jamaica should become a republic, and just like how the prime minister, the sitting prime minister is a prime minister and his wife is the speaker of the house, there's a push that his son may be the president if he has his way. Anything is possible when it comes to the way how nepotism and the way how the lack of moral turpitude is existent in the current government. And it's not me saying it, you know, they refuse to sign the code of conduct for leadership. They refuse to submit to the jurisdiction of morality, the jurisdiction of integrity, transparency, probity, inclusion, and honesty. So once you appreciate this, How can you sit and say I'm not going to vote when your brothers and sisters are being disenfranchised? When people who 9 years ago was okay with them little $6,000 and looking for better get tricked, and it's now at $15,000 and they can't buy the things that you used to could buy with $6,000. When the prime minister said, "I'm gonna put $1,000 per minimum wage," and then the dollar went straight to 159 the very next day. And let me Google to see if they what them call themselves, if the Bank of Jamaica has intervened. Let me just be facetious. Right. So currently, all right, it's not so bad right now. It's gone back down to 157.50. But that is the point I am making, that people must understand that after it goes up and the inflation go up, goods don't ever come down, no matter what. So your prime minister have to beg and say, take time with we. Private sector, take time with we. Don't bother build the houses, and then when you're building the houses, you sell it for too much. Please don't do it. Yeah. And then you hire a lot of these people who not in tune with reality, not in tune with compassion and empathy to talk about people, and even disrespect. Every time I hear somebody disrespect the honorable former Prime Minister Michael Manley, I know for sure that history is being rewritten. And that is a very, 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 very sad thing. Right? And see somebody saying, wasn't it PJ who made it a free market in pricing? Can you tell us about that? Can you just tell me about FinSac? But what about the report? Why don't they release the report? Why don't they release the Crone report? Because nobody's going to release reports that's going to make them look bad. Nobody's going to release the FinSac report when the FinSac report tells the truth. So when you ask me, wasn't it PJ that gave the free market? I'm not here to give tit for tat, because I'm in 2025 right now. And it's okay for somebody to do something a certain way because somebody did something back then. Because I'm not sitting there saying it's okay for people to be poor because poverty is a crime. If you want to know the true crime, poverty is the crime. And if a government has been in power for 9 years and has done nothing to curb and correct poverty, they fail as a government. And I can tell you, murder is murder, and it don't matter who do it. Every life lost in Jamaica is the prospect of greatness snuffed out. Misguided young people who are murdered because they join gangs, because they are cast out of school early and find inclusion in spaces where they're discarded other places. Yeah, that's a conversation that we are to have. Right? So for me, I'm gonna always take the approach or deal with the reality as it comes. Yes? Walking in the vine, leave them, make them talk them foolishness. One thing I can tell you is facts. And maybe it says the government has failed for being in government for little growth. So will you also fail. I don't even know if I don't know if I don't. That's not English, so I can't even respond to that. Sorry. We'll and come again. Um, yeah, I kind of picked that up, Fluffy Diva, but I did attempt to reach. Megawatt said, Mario, why don't you ask the government to release the FinSac report? Let's see who's naming it. Exactly. I'm not reading. I'm not being able to read. There are many comments coming around, but all I want to say at the end of the day, because we have like a, a couple minutes left, but what I want to say in relation to all that is going on right now is that sometimes tradition is something that we don't expect people to break. Um, and especially when we're talking about political tradition. One of the hallmarks of a parliamentary system is that the prime minister calls an election. Even when a prime minister is being forced out, it's better for him to call the election than be placed in a no confidence situation, or being, or allowing the constitution itself to call the election, because history will say what was so wrong in the country that it had to go down to the constitutional mechanisms calling the election. It just shows that government has become rogue. It shows that government has ignored the constitution to the point that the constitution has to employ self mechanisms so that good governance can prevail. So a press conference to tell the people that as far as this government is concerned, it is the constitution that will have to call the election, and the election constitutionally due by the constitution itself is December. But woe be unto you, because no matter when you call it, you're going to lose, no matter what. And the people are aware. So you want to buy votes, and you want to bribe the citizens of this country, and you give them $20,000, which is telling them to take $12,000 a day, and that can buy icing, certainly can buy the toothpaste that will be needed after they're defiled by that type of dirty behavior. Yes. So all that stuff is very important. Don't entertain people who are suffering from some of the stages of Sigmund Freud. There are persons who are anally fixated, and they come on this live oftentimes to carry out their fantasies. Ignore them, please. Yes, so just understand that. And somebody says that you bring nothing to the table, you're very rude, and East Portland will reject you. What I will say in response to that, please don't delete them. They're saying I have no sense because I've highlighted vote buying. And they said, I have no sense, yet I graduated with first class honors from the University of the West Indies, and I am educated. I don't go around telling people that, but it speaks for itself. And as a young lawyer who has gone all the way to the Privy Council, anybody who comes to my platform and say, I have no sense, is just somebody who is a paid troll to come on my life. But this is a show on Reggae Global Radio, Coda Network, TikTok, and YouTube. If you don't like what I have to say, you simply can find another entertainment for yourself. Everything I say here is actually fact. Yes. So I'm just saying that and that's why I don't block people, because I must be able to address them sometimes. So one would say that when you exercise your freedom of expression to simply speak the truth, and one thing I am not is a weak jellyback man. So I will always talk up and advocate. I'm not afraid of nobody. Yeah. Literally, I am unafraid. I'm fearless because I am an intellect. And when I speak with confidence because I do my research and I know the facts. I don't have to speak PR, right? And that is really what it is. Yeah. And so we are, every now and then we do give credence. So Mario, it's unfortunate. Luigi is not on this page. Yeah. So find another page. And at the end of the day, as I say, we must sit down. Somebody said, fix the tie. Fix the tie after me not shy. Anyway, we must have conversations so that we can make competent decisions. We must make our decisions after mature consideration. We must treat the voting process as the constitutional right that it is, and we must respect it so that we don't fall victim to selling our votes to people who basically have no regard for you or the people, because it thwarts the voting process and it's not a true reflection of the desire of the people. And vote buying also includes encouraging people not to vote for their preferred choice. Voter intimidation is also something to watch. The good thing is that the international community will certainly, because of so much interest in Jamaica, where it is geographically situated, will not sit idly and allow all that is being planned by the government that don't want to give up power. Many of them will find themselves in a very unfortunate situation if illegality is brought into the process. I won't say any much more on that, but to say that anybody that tries to usurp the Constitution, anybody that makes attempts to offend it, anybody that decides that they want to disenfranchise the voters, anybody that wants to interfere with the electoral process, whether through victimization. Even persons know, I don't have to call them out, but persons who are flouting the illegal staff orders, that is breaching the constitutional rights of citizens of Jamaica. Somebody said the tie was that way for half an hour. Why no? Because somebody told me that the tie was what? Which way was it? Which, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, these elements are empty heads being used by their leaders. Yeah, but I know that empty barrel make the most noise, But it's true, me clear barrel off a wharf and give out the things them in it, and then use the drum for the garbage that it is. We know a lot of garbage stops by because they have to be completely invested in the facts because they are afraid when people hear the facts. Yeah? No, sir. Skin thin war. I'm a black man. My skin can't thin. Never, never, never. But more than that, I think I've ventilated the issue enough for persons to be aware that after the 15th of September, which is when the parliament dissolves, the prime minister has no power to call no election. So even if you see him at the point after the 15th of September, if he steps to the podium and says, I have informed the Governor General that the election is this date, it's just one big dummy standing up trying to save face because time run out on him. What? Even a Marva is going on too much, man. Moderator, you have to deal with them, Deal with them for me there. No, leave Marva. Marva tell me the tying on my big chest from there where may I touch it for. Anyway, stay up here, stay with me. Yeah. And so once again, the the Magnitsky petition on change.org. Please go on to change.org and sign the petition. If you're gonna donate to the One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund or watch Will Rattigan show for more information. Right? So any questions for me? Because I think I've said, do not let anybody attempt to use delay to call the bluff of the Jamaican people. The Prime Minister, having failed to call the election before it is constitutionally due, has made it clear to the Jamaican people that he certainly is not confident in the people in his party. One significant observation I must show you is that after his failure to have his statutory declaration certified, and that is left unanswered to now, as well as going into an election, because they know, even if we don't know, who the other 7 are. Just note that the rest of them have decided that during this election, when they put their poster boards up, you won't see the Andrew Holness putting them and say, my people, I give you this. They're going to go out and say every man for themselves and hope that they can hold on to their constituency, because the writing is on the wall. Destiny's Child is in the building. Yeah? If you don't believe me, just drive around and start look on the poster boards. So I make sure, the leader of my party is the man of integrity, is a competent attorney, businessman, finance man, yeah, and a Jamaican. Of course, it is an honor to be placed on a poster board with the leader of the party. Because where integrity is, yeah, there can be confidence that the change, when we say time come, change coming with it. That's all. So it's a simple fix, Election is due September 3rd, like the last election. Parliament is dissolved September 15th if the Prime Minister don't call it before. Because remember, when September 3rd come, Parliament only have 15 days left before the Constitution say get up and come out. And then purdah takes effect. So we're 5 months away from everything I'm saying to happen. And so trying to see how much you can buy time. Who am I though? Oh, anyway, yeah. So that being said, would you move? Somebody said, would you move? There will be no late voting in Portland. So that I don't have to watch. No, there will be no late voting in Portland. The rule is 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is the deadline. And the competent people will be trained to act as such. Yes, anybody feel like say them can do anything other than what the rules say, they will know. Yes, and not 1 minute after. All right, big up yourself. Yeah. So my people, I have said it. When it comes to constitutional matters, the people of Jamaica needs to look to the Charter of Rights. Start with the protection of your rights. After you are au fait As in, after you understand what Section 13.3 is saying in terms of the right to life, freedom of expression, dissemination, access to education, freedom of religion, freedom of belief and conscientiousness, freedom of your rights to your land, your due process rights, and your fair trial right. Once you are au fait with that, start to look what the creatures of the Constitution. The Constitution, by design, ensured that it call the workers in government creatures. They are your servants. They are the dogs and the animals that bow down to you. You, the human, is superior to the people in government. You, the human, all if you broke and poor and pauperized and no teeth. Once them say them put themselves as a creature of the Constitution, they are less than you. I must empower the people of Jamaica to understand that, so that your servants don't abuse you. In which life can the servants abuse the master? Right? So I am just putting that out there so people understand that. So you go and you find out, just like you see, the reality is persons would have, you're young, gifted, and black, Mujib. Big up, big up, big up every time. But persons must understand that where the truth lies is with the reality that the respect for the Constitution as a don of all done, the most powerful legal instrument in the country. It's the bedrock and foundation of our country, protected and guarded by the judiciary because it understood that the parliament and the executive was going to always not have respect for it and would flout the rules. The abuse of process from state actors is overwhelming at a time when the power in and of itself needs to be reined in. And so I won't try to overkill where this is concerned, but I did a whole show for 2 hours on this aspect of it because I think having failed to gerrymander, having failed to try to make the seats in St. Catherine are JLP seats by using your majority in Parliament in breach of the Constitution, out of respect for the Constitution, including the process to change boundary lines for what it would look like and to achieve the object and purpose for upliftment for the people in any area and any space. There's a push to make one place a parish when it is a part of a parish. At the same time, the hospitals in the entire parish of St. Catherine, even though it's being refurbished, it needs a whole new hospital. Just like how the people in West Portland don't have a hospital and the clinic is inadequate. And when they need to go to the hospital, they have to decide if they're going to go right or go left. And I know ticket them are getting, but to get the quality of medical attention is problematic because the people of Portland must say how government want them more interested for build park and business centers than deal with the health issues and the reality. People are up, senators are upset because Dr. Dawes is calling out the mildew and the issues that are ripe in hospitals, where the places where you go to ensure that you are cared for is instead a place and a breeding ground for you to be ill, you to become ill. Imagine going into a hospital for a simple finger scratch and you end up dead or your leg amputated because mildew will go around this, and then staph infection and all kind of things that come. And not to mention, we are improving roads by the building of the highways by both administrations, but the health care is inadequate. And so the road traffic accidents that take place, that take the lives of many, though a lot of these lives could be saved if we had an ambulance system, if we also had an emergency room that had everything, so that if you lick your head, CAT scans are available, MRIs are available, X-rays are available where necessary, so you can actually get proper diagnosis and able to get the care that you need. Because the lack of machines, persons can't be properly diagnosed for cancer. So the next time you catch it is when you say, no man, doctor, I'm come here last year, but we're really, really, really sick out now. And then say, oh, I see what go on, stage 4 cancer, radam, go and go dead. And we take these things lightly, you know, but we live in a high crime society with bad medical care that causes us to die, not because of the causation of the conduct of the inhumane citizens, but because the government has failed to have the infrastructure in place to deal with the realities of the Jamaican society. And when everything I'm talking about, because if the healthcare system is failing, yeah, they're breaching your constitutional right to life. And you're not supposed, you know, the systems that are in place um is not supposed to always make you have a fight for everything. So people don't even understand that. And this here context matters. I've always said to you, I'm going to take the last few minutes to address it so people understand it. So I say, parish at all, what should be and needed is to build that area into a city. Schools, universities, 2 years and 4 years shopping malls, hotels and markets and other things that is necessary. That was always the plan. That was the plan from the beginning when it came from Edward Seago. You think him on the money like Michael Manley, you think him never did do nothing. He did something, notwithstanding the CIA report and all of those things. And we don't live in the past, you know. We don't have to live in the past. Everybody did something. You think I'm gonna sit here and behave like Andrew Holness never do nothing? Him do something. He did something. There was a time when he built the St. Thomas Road, even though him do it bad. I think one of the biggest things is that you do one thing, but you're then people thief so much it looks bad. And what you could actually do, and the more that you could do to ensure that whatever you're doing, you include the people. So let's not get out of hand. This isn't tribalist talk. This is about bringing Jamaican people to the humane level, humanity level. So people can stop behaving like they're disgusted when they see people. So people can have a better healthcare system so that the mentally ill is not walking on the road and people is stabbing them and mistreating them because they are incapable of diagnosing when people not too righted. So police officers don't go up and murder mentally ill people because they have a problem when somebody say bomber hole. Because sometime in life that became a bad word. I don't even know the definition of that. I know where blue hole is, them teeth it. So anyway, I'm just a true defender of the Constitution, because without the Constitution, I wouldn't be here. People telling me I need to fix my tie, and I wouldn't have the authority to speak on the Constitution because I simply wouldn't have been a lawyer. But because those before me who understood the Constitution, respected the Constitution, understands what human dignity is, then we're in a position to not dwell on the past. And yeah, people will wonder, why am I not trying to sue people when they chat foolishness and use ad hominem attacks? Ad hominem means you attack the person because everything they're saying is true, and you attack the person because you cannot deal with the facts. You cannot under any circumstances tackle me on the law. And so you have to name call, even where that which you are calling me is not true, because you don't know nothing about me. Never in your life would you be able to walk in my presence. But I'm not going to block you for those who are being rude on the live. But anyway, having said that, we must not, under any circumstances, be deceived by a government that is a serial constitutional breacher. We must not be rocked to sleep with false, empty promises, because anything this government, that is the Jamaica Labour Party and the government of Jamaica, led by the Jamaica Labour Party, anything they said they're going to do, ask them why they never do it in the last 9 years. 2 full terms and nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing to show for it. They lied about burial, and countries that were flattened by burial have rebuilt and persons in homes. Here we have slight rainfalls and persons become homeless and no mechanism to rebuild. So one of the things I will tell you, this thing about give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Well, give a man money to fix him roof. Yeah? You didn't fix his house. Give a man a house and a title to that house. You've broken the cycle of poverty for generations to come. Just never ever forget that. There's a big difference. So all of these projects where money is given out, loan some money, hold some money, loan some money is given out. Just know that band-aids don't cure surgical precision. Never, 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 never. And that's where I leave it. For those of you on Reggae Global Radio, thank you for joining me on Context Matters. I will see you guys next week. Blessings and love. For those of you on TikTok, I want to big up on yourself. And those of you on YouTube, it was a pleasure. Trust me, I prefer wearing my Adidas than coming from court. But anyway, that's just a preference, right? So I will see you guys next week. I hope that some of you would have Googled PERDA and have a little bit understanding of what was trying to be said by the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, assuming that she also knows that she was speaking about PERDA. But blessings and all, one and all.
It took some time to understand, yeah, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see, it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better, you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it. Take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.